Hey everybody, this is Joshua Kenny Greenwood. I am the senior pastor and the overseer here at the Empowerment Center Church, churchfreedom.org, and I'm the author of this book called The Corporation Soul, Freeing America's Pulpits from the Restrictive 501c3 Laws for Churches. Today we got a question from a fellow senior pastor called Jason Woodford Sr., and this is a good brother of ours. He said, "Hey Pastor Joshua, great to see you posting very informative videos. Two-part question here. Can a corporation soul apply for a tax-exempt number from their state, and should they do it?" I was literally reading right off our YouTube channel. This is exactly why we ask people to subscribe to our YouTube channel, so that you can ask questions in our comment box, and if it's an original question, we'll go ahead and we'll include it here as a video on YouTube. So make sure, if you haven't done so, that you subscribe to the channel. Now, Brother Jason, to answer that question, it really only becomes applicable for the corporation soul to register with your local state. Okay, so if you don't live in the state of Oregon, but let's say you've registered your corporation soul through the state of Oregon, and you've elected to have the Empowerment Center represent your corporation soul here as a registered agent, but let's say you're living in a completely different state that doesn't have an active corporation soul law. Okay, so in those states, when you apply, for instance, for a property tax exemption, the property tax exemption, the local state franchise board, the revenue board, whoever is in charge of the internal revenue for your state related to property taxes, they may require, if they don't recognize the corporation soul because they don't have an active corporation soul law, they may require that you file your corporation soul as a foreign corporation. Okay, it's a really simple process. If you have to do that, you'll just have to contact your Secretary of State's office, and when they start asking you questions about the members, you want to keep in mind that it's a successor, and the secretary, especially the secretary of the corporation soul, can be added as members of if they have a requirement on the forms of the foreign corporation. You want to make sure that you list everything that's on there and go through that process of filing as a foreign corporation. It's a really simple process, but every single state has a different method in how they go about doing this. Okay, so advice I can give you about Oregon is not going to be the same applicable advice, let's say, that might be from New York or New Jersey. I mean, completely different processes. So you'll have to do your due diligence, either contact I would recommend contacting the Secretary of State's office, or just looking up with the State Revenue Board and say, what is the best practice? What do we need to do to seek the exemption for property taxes? So for those type of taxes, you can. For other taxes, such as sales taxes and different types of sales taxes, hotel exemptions, and all sorts of different exemptions that you can have. Like Texas is really big on this as well, because they itemize all the different exemptions that a church can actually get. You might need to, your corporation soul, once again, if you're seeking that exemption from the state, okay, then the state might require that you file as a foreign corporation. That's one of the biggest things. The other is not to file to seek an exemption, but to file as a foreign corporation if you decided, for instance, that you didn't want to heed our advice and go with Bank of America or Wells Fargo to set up the account for the corporation soul. This is what we explain in the book in absolute thorough detail. And by the way, everything that we're even talking about right now, it's right here in the book. So make sure that everybody, you get the book. Go to corporationsoulbook.com. But the only other instance, if you decide you want to go through a private bank or a bank that's not Wells Fargo or Bank of America, those banking institutions don't know anything about the corporation soul, like literally anything. Okay, so you most likely would have to file as a foreign corporation, religious organization, but it's going to be through the corporation soul. And when you file a foreign corporation, you're never filing in the name of the church. It's always going to be in the name of the corporation soul. Remember, we don't want the church to become incorporated at all. Okay, but that's really the only two, two maybe three big instances: property taxes, other tax exemptions, and for banking purposes is really the only reasons why you'd really want to notify your local state or jurisdiction of the exemption status of the corporation sole. I hope that this makes sense. If it comes down to the actual processes to how to do that, don't ask us that, because that's all 50 states have a different process, and so since every single state has a different process, and those processes may change from time to time, what we're going to need you to do is, or any overseer to do, is just go ahead and do their due diligence and make sure that they contact their local states and jurisdictions and just find out what that process is, and then go about it if it's applicable and it's necessary. So I hope that this helps. Once again, this video is from one of the pastors that asked us a question on our YouTube channel. So if you've got a question and it's original question, go ahead and leave it in the comment box. I am going to tell you though, most likely, if you do have a question, it's actually already either been answered directly or indirectly, because we have a ton of videos on this YouTube channel. But make sure that you subscribe and be connected with us here on YouTube, because if we want to make sure that when we make these videos and when we help you guys with church freedom and the corporation sole and helping to set churches free from 501c3, that you have every single answer and everything necessary to help take your ministry to its next level. So we appreciate your love and support. The best way to support us: tell everybody about this book. There ain't nothing wrong with setting churches free from 501c3. Like I've been saying, politicians, the only time they ever need to fear 501c3 is when they're doing something wrong. The only time that a political candidate needs to fear the church influencing the outcome of a candidacy in an election cycle is when those candidates have an unrighteous heart. And when there is corruption, when there's manipulation, when there's greed, and when we're not being told the truth, that's the only time that a candidate should ever be concerned about 501c3. The political candidates that have righteousness in their hearts, that are above reproach, that speak with truth, and they have a heart to legitimately serve, and they don't have that spirit, that religious spirit that, well, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican, and because you're not with me and you're not in my band, then we're just gonna completely and utterly alienate you. That's not love. And see, the church is here today to restore love and righteousness and truth back to the American people. And we're going to make sure that we have the capability and the authority to accomplish that mission. And the way to do that is through a corporation sole and properly establishing your church, getting your church out from 501c3 and properly establishing it exactly how it's explained here. So join the thousands and thousands of churches that have joined us here at Church Freedom, and let's take this country back in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you so much. Have a great day.